Alright, hello everybody, good afternoon, and welcome to tonight's kind of introductory, I guess, video to simplerstocks.com. I'll start you off with a little something different here tonight, looking at a daily chart of the E-mini S&P futures chart, and here is the reason why. If you see the arrows that are populated on this chart, they are programmed to auto-populate for this following reason. That is, that these down arrows populate on payroll Fridays, which is obviously this coming Friday. The up arrows populate at the end of the second week of the month, i.e. the end of the week prior to the expiration. What we're looking for is lows to come in often at the end of the week prior to the expiration. The market has a tendency to then bid higher into the payrolls and then come off again. So here we go, bid higher into the payrolls, would come off again. Bid higher, payrolls, come off again. End of the week prior to the expiration, bid higher into the payrolls. It didn't come off very much right there, but certainly did here. Up she down, down she goes again. So I'll move this chart out of the way now. Just wanted to make that observation for you, and so the rest of this commentary might make a little bit more sense. Now this is going to a daily S&P chart, so it's just a different view, i.e. without those arrows noting exactly what it was I was just showing you. I just want to kind of point out here, obviously we're seeing a series, well, this is very, very, very difficult trade sideways chop, but moreover, what I'm pointing out is the fact that we've got a series of lower highs here. I mean, you could literally draw a trend line across the top of that. That is absolutely going to have to be dealt with in order that we then get this trade higher this week into this payroll, this upcoming non-farm payroll this Friday, as history would suggest as being likely. If we go over and look at the trade tab here, we see that we've got a pretty decent size expected move this week in the neighborhood still of 26.5, 27 points, and that's still yet for the remainder of this week with only 4 days remaining. This was actually last week higher. It was up around 32. It's now moved in a little bit to 27, given the fact that we've now gotten 1 day under our belt. The trade was very, very tight in range in nature today. The volume was relatively light at 1.3 million ES contracts traded today. And so the point being, there's not a lot of energy and or decisiveness by either party, bulls or bears, in trying to really move this this market one way or the other. The bias, although it's a little bit hard to point to given the nature of this chart, i.e. the lower highs with the ability to clearly and easily draw a trend line across the top of that, my bias, albeit difficult to obviously describe there, is to the upside given the historic nature of the trade this week, hence that I just showed you on that first chart. That being the case, then we're out there looking for little jewels, I guess if you would, in some of these stocks. All right, so here's one that I really, really like, and I've been calling our trade room's attention to since back here in February. The idea here was on this last 1, 2, 3. The extensions were, obviously 1272 and 1618. We met that, backed off, found the 100 support, made the 618 again. It's been just bouncing around in there trying to deal with those prior highs. Remember, look left to be right. Bing, bing, bing. Finally, boom, big time breakthrough to the upside today. This is really, really good. This is a good sign. Ticker ADXS. Another sort of pattern oriented, much like that we just looked at and touched on, is GoPro. I'll zoom in on this for you a little bit and try to make the case here for us. Here's the way I treat and view, and I've suggested for a long time that we do actually a proposed cup and handle pattern, and that is we're looking for the cup with the pullback of, and I like to say 3 to 5 on average candles on the pullback. I want at least back to the 382, which we can see we did here, and no more than, by the way, at least the 382, no more than the 618. So I'm fine with an additional 2 to 3 whatever periods had it continued to pull back all the way back into 49 3/4 here, still holding and validating the cup and handle pattern. However, in this case, this was a very brief 3-day period, a pullback to the minimum expectation of the 382, which also, by the way, caught 1 standard deviation off the mean price there, and then the bid comes back in. So what we do now is measure from the bottom of the formation to the rim, which you can see is about $9 from 46 up to 55, and then we're going to tack that $9 target onto the top of this rim with the breach of the rim, and so your target now is 9 higher than this 55. All right, so that's pretty basic but decent explanation of that cup and handle pattern. That's something that we're monitoring in the room. Got some people trading, and they're happy obviously with the subsequent follow through of 5.5% today on GoPro. A couple more might interest you. This thing is just, there's no slowing this thing down. I mean, it's performing quite well. Now, if you're just learning about this, I mean, we've been discussing this, it's about $72, but if you're just coming into this, then my suggestion would be not to chase it up here, but yet to find a retracement back into what was obviously overhead on this congestion for a bit. I've identified that as about 71 3/4. That is just a tad bit below the 80 MA, and also right into, well, really what I'd like to see is a move back into 1 deviation off its mean and the 21 EMA back here at, we'll call it $71 in order to not be worried about splitting hairs. But that is a buy level for CNC. And then just some ideas. I mean, there are a lot out there, but I'm going to go over a number of these in the premium video. I just want to draw your attention to a few of these in this kind of introductory video, I guess, if you will. This one's got my attention in the breach of this downward sloping upper trend line. It tags into its 2 deviation. I'd like to see this pull back for a buying opportunity, but yet notice also, well, you can't see, I don't have it on screen, but there's a daily squeeze in play as well that's currently 6 periods deep in the squeeze. With any follow through upside, that squeeze will very, very likely obviously fire long, and when it does, you are then a buyer of the very first retracement back into the 8 EMA, the 8 period exponential moving average, and which I will tell you on average comes in about 3 to sometimes 4 periods after the squeeze actually fires. Okay, so this price move right here, to give you an idea, was not even sufficient enough to fire the squeeze long. So you can kind of get an idea when the squeeze does fire, what kind of energy it can indeed have behind it. I would imagine we'd be looking for a target of 107, 7.5 or so, something like that, back here on this last major swing high. So that'd be a target objective on it. Reasonably, what you're looking for is going to be the squeeze to fire long. You're going to be a buyer of somewhere around 101, maybe, we'll call it $101 or so, somewhere right in there. And your target objective, your first target objective, would be 107.5. And with any luck, we're talking about a second target objective up here at 112.5. All right. Okay, so I just want to make sure that everyone is aware of a webinar that John is hosting and providing for us free of charge tomorrow night. That is tomorrow, June the 2nd, and that is going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Should take about 45 minutes or so. That's 8 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. Central Time. And in order to join, you could simply go to www.simplerstocks.com/checklist, as you see that I have on my screen here. And if you do that, it's going to then take you to this page, a page that looks like this, and that is under Simpler Stocks. And again, that's going to be John Carter providing a free webinar tomorrow night, that is June the 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern. During this webinar, John's going to be discussing the 5-step checklist that you can use to find your next hedge fund darlings. And so specifically, you'll see how to find these stocks in today's marketplace. Also, the fundamental criteria every stock should meet before you buy. And this is the kicker right here, the technical analysis tool that John almost named his first child after. He'll tell you a story about that and how he first used that in a trade that he put on in college for his first six-figure trade while he was in college. Imagine that. And then also why market conditions are perfect right now for this opportunity, this type of an opportunity right now. So hope that you will join us. If you will go to the URL link that I provided, give us your first name and email address. You will then be provided with a follow-up email, which will be explaining, when and where and how to join. And again, that is simplerstocks.com/checklist. Hope to see you there tonight. Good night. Or tomorrow night. Good night, sorry.